Welcome back to Yoshi Entertainment, everybody. So, just recently, Simone Biles' husband, his name is Jonathan Owens, for those of you who didn't know, but we're going to keep calling him Simone Biles' husband because that's what he deserves to be called, had the audacity to sit up on somebody's podcast who we will not give any kind of publicity on this channel or any kind of attention. And he was talking about how he met Simone Biles and their relationship leading up to them being married. And for some odd reason, he fixed his raggedy mouth to say that he was the catch in the relationship. Now, I know this came on because the guy who was interviewing him asked the question, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around why he would even ask him that question. Like, why do people have to ask these kind of questions and start this kind of mess on the internet? Like, I feel like he knew exactly what he was doing when he asked him that question, like I said. But he could have turned it around and said, well, no, I don't think I'm the catch. Like, she chose to be with me. I'm the lucky one here. And before anybody says that that's ridiculous, there have been men who have done this in the past. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But like I said, for him to sit his raggedy behind up there and say that mess, it gives arrogance. It gives disrespect. It gives pride and ego, and that's just disgusting. Like I've said this before, pride is a disgusting thing to have. To be pretentious, especially where your partner, your spouse is concerned, is a disgusting thing to display. Now, everybody was trying to smooth it over and act like, well, I won't say everybody. Some people were trying to smooth it over and act like he didn't mean it the way everybody was taking it. And once again, that's the great gaslight, if you will. Whenever people roast somebody publicly for what they publicly chose to say, those people who want to act like they didn't say what they blatantly said need to be quiet and let them be roasted. Instead of trying to defend them and put words in their mouth and make it seem like they didn't say what they said. People are sick and tired of that mess. And they're sick and tired of people saying stuff that they shouldn't have never let come out of their mouth to begin with. Some people did acknowledge the fact that he did say a few nice things about his wife, and that his comment thinking that he and other men were the catch was just that one thing that he said that people didn't like and that didn't sit well with a lot of people. A lot of people on YouTube also were not having it. Once again, they're pointing out that a lot of people in these little relationships like this, they like to do stuff like this. Like I said, it's very disrespectful, quite narcissistic actually, and very abusive. They get into public spaces and try to humble, if you will, their partner, or call themselves trying to humble them by being disrespectful or embarrassing them. But people have been pointing out the only person he really embarrassed was himself by saying what he said. Because as all these people have been saying in these comments, didn't nobody even know who he was. Nobody even knew that this dude existed, let alone his name, until he married Simone Biles. Like, Simone Biles is a worldwide name. That woman's name is a household name. She's out here breaking records, like I said, as these people have been saying in the comments, that other gymnasts can't even touch. Allegedly, an entire gymnastic move was named after her. And there are moves that she does. She's so skillful and talented at what she does that they have advised other gymnasts not to even try because the moves are so complicated that those gymnasts, if they're not actually really careful and actually, like I said, as skillful and talented as she is, they could literally mortally injure themselves trying to do the moves, possibly even underlive themselves by mistake. That's how talented she is. She's literally doing moves that other people can't. Now, some people were pointing out, okay, he did say he didn't really know her like that before he met her because he wasn't really paying attention to gymnastics. But once again, I don't even watch gymnastics, and I know who Simone Biles is. Like I said, the woman has broken so many records that it's ridiculous in a good way. So to still not know who she is, like, I don't know if I'm really buying that, but okay, I can understand that maybe because he trains for his own, whatever he does, I guess it's football. He spends a lot of time training. He doesn't have a lot of outside time, so to speak. So he doesn't devote a whole lot of time to watching TV and other sports and whatnot. So maybe I can understand that he didn't know her because of that. But again, to not understand the weight of who you are connected to, again, it's giving pride. It's also giving incompetence and ignorance as well. Another thing that people were pointing out that he did say was, I don't want to say that Simone Biles pursued him, but that's what they were trying to make it sound like. He even said, whenever we first met, didn't know who she was. She agreed to drive 45 minutes out of the suburbs to come and meet up with me so that we could go on a date or whatever. So it almost sounds like what they're trying to say or imply is that she did a lot of chasing him, so to speak. And if anybody knows, the old school relationship advice is the advice we all need to go back to and take from and use and apply to our lives. And that old school advice is the men are supposed to be doing the pursuing. I've said this before. If a relationship is not built on the right morals, the right thing, y'all being in the relationship for the right thing, the right premise, if y'all are not doing y'all's roles that God made you to do in a relationship, it will crumble. That is just the 100% truth. Once again, ladies, you are not supposed to do the chasing. That is literally not what God made you to do. The men are the ones who are supposed to do the pursuing. That's not me bashing men. That's not me being a feminist. That is the truth that a lot of people do not want to accept in this modern times. People try to throw it off on each other, but it's modern men and women that are making goofy mistakes in these relationships that they are getting in, taking modern advices for the trash when they need to once again go back to the old school way of relationships and dating, which is, once again, the man is supposed to be doing the pursuing. He goes to pick her up. He opens her car door. He pulls out her chair. He pays for dinner. He's a gentleman. He goes out of his way, not her going out of her way. But based off of what came out of his mouth, not what I think, not what I feel, not what I pulled out of thin air, what came out of his mouth, it seems like it was the opposite. And a lot of people were saying that's probably why he thinks the way he does. Because she done too much. She done more of the pursuing, from what it seems like, than he has. So he probably thinks, oh, well, then I'm the good thing or whatever. But again, people, no, they humbled him in these comments. They were saying, sir, you're not the prize. Technically, she is. Once again, we didn't even know who you were until she married you. And that's not, once again, me bashing men. That is just the literal truth. Both men and women were saying this. Sir, you have lost your absolute marbles. Be quiet and be grateful that you have this woman. But what it seems like, and other people are pointing this out, we're going to tell the truth and shame the devil on this channel. Black women have this really bad. They get so desperate for a relationship, some of these women out here, that they will really settle for anybody who's saying anything, letting anything fall out of their mouths. And the sad part is, there's a lot of people out there who know this. They know that a lot of women are desperate to have a relationship. They want that closeness, they want that affection, that attention. And instead of being very grateful that the person really, really wants a relationship with them, is very passionate about a relationship with them and being with them and loving them and receiving their love and having a happy relationship, they take advantage and they use the very thing that they know these women want against them. And they also become very pretentious, like I said, very self-centered, very selfish, very prideful. It's a really sad and disturbing sight to see, to be honest. She was only just so happy to be with him. Meanwhile, he's sitting up here and really being prideful. And if anybody can't see the pride, like I said, and the pretentiousness coming off of what he said, you need to go back to the drawing board. And once again, other men have done better. Why is it that once again with black people, we always have to settle for this low, raggedy, mediocre, lazy behind standard? There was somebody in the Reddit post that we're talking about, I think it was an actor, if I'm not mistaken, who basically was confronted with the same situation. Somebody, an interviewer, whoever it was, said, do you think that your wife is lucky to have you? And he said, no, I'm lucky to have her. And that's the way that it should be. Your spouse should not be pumping themselves up talking about, oh, they're the lucky one to have me. Because if that's the case, why are you with them then? Why? And once again, a lot of people were pointing out how he also said, oh, a lot of men think like this, or a lot of men like to say, oh, we're the prize. And it's, first of all, don't put words in other men's mouth. Don't speak for other men, okay? Especially when you're speaking nothing but prideful, rubbish nonsense. And once again, before anybody with some crazy mindset that's been implanted in the minds by some people, I'm not going to say who they are, but we all know who I'm talking about, tries to say, girl, you don't know what you're talking about. Yes, I do, because again, I was raised by old school individuals. And let me bring you back to that old school advice. The men were doing the pursuing. So who do you think really was the prize, since we want to take it there? If anybody wants to take it there, we can go there. Who was really the prize if they were being pursued? Once again, that's probably why he thinks that way, which is a problem in and of and all by itself. Like I said before, I'm an advocate for condemning toxic and disgusting mindsets. And the people of the community should do the same thing every time somebody gets up and spouts and spews their toxic mindset. Unless you want that toxic mindset to run amok in our community and damage the minds, especially of the youth, because that's the people that are really watching this. The people who we need to be concerned about listening to this raggedy garbage. I will even go so far and be so daring as to use a scripture in this scenario. And before anybody tries to say that that's not relevant to this situation or that the Bible is not relevant, first of all, yes, it is. And second of all, I've said this before. Before you try to do anything that's Bible based and God ordained, God made, a marriage, you better have God somewhere in it, or once again, it's not going to go well. It's going to crumble. How many times do we have to see relationships publicly crumble who didn't have God in it for us to understand that this is for real and that it's the truth? And just because you don't see it crumbling doesn't mean that it's not crumbling. But anyways, the scripture is, he that finds a wife, a man that finds a wife, finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Let me repeat that for the morbidly confused people in the back. He that finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. Hopefully that helps somebody gain an understanding. But anyways, I was really happy for Simone Biles when she got married because I know she's been through a lot. She's had issues with mental health, being, a black gymnast, going through a lot with the racism and all the stuff that people were doing and saying towards her. It was not right. A lot of people like Simone Biles and even all the black tennis players, all the black women tennis players that we know that are very famous, other athletes, black women athletes and black men athletes, they have to go through this stuff. It's not fair to them. It's not right. They already have enough on their plate. Once again, always be kind to people, treat people right, because you don't ever know what they're going through, what they have to deal with on a regular basis. Don't add more trauma to the pile. Like I said, I was happy whenever she got married because I felt like, oh, she's very happy. This is her moment right now. She really was happy in those pictures, y'all. You can see it. But now I'm just worried and concerned after this idiot done said what he done said. I really am. At the end of the day, I just hope that she's happy and I just want God's best for her life and God's will for her life. Anyways, y'all let me know what y'all think about all of this down in the comments below respectfully. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Y'all all have a very blessed, safe, and happy day.